Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, where you get daily and consistent hot topics in music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As you come into the chat, be sure to drop your elephants and your crowns and let me know where you're watching from. We were just live talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac's past, star Sharice Jackson Jordan. Be sure to check out that video, and be sure to check out our Travis Scott video that we posted earlier today, and also another Andy Cohen video. There is a petition to have Andy Cohen removed from Bravo, and I was featured in the story. Be sure to check everything that you missed out here on the channel. But we have some more Erika Girardi news. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills might be over for season 11 and currently filming for season 12. But the legal drama continues for Erika Girardi. And one of our favorite lawyer trolls, Ronald Richards, is also in the story. And I know a lot of you, first of all, shout out to you guys that connect me with information. If you're not a part of the texting community, join the texting community. This is how you're able to send me information. And a lot of you are hitting me up with some information. Shout out to Kristen, who linked me to this story as well. I read the story. I took notes. I'm turning into Emily D. Baker. You know I'm not a lawyer, but I like to pretend to be one here on YouTube, but I'm not. I look forward to Emily breaking down some of what this new brief is revealing. But what has been revealed, according to Jay Edelson, as you may recall, Jay Edelson, who represents the Lion Air victims, has been in sort of we're not going to sugarcoat it. He's been in a legal battle, a lawyer battle with Ronald Richards and Erika Girardi. Honestly, I got bored with whatever they were going back and forth with until today, because it seems as if, according to Jay Edelson's Twitter, that Ronald Richards was fired from the case. Was Ronald Richards working with Erika Girardi's attorneys? Let's get into what all that's about in just a second. Shout out to our friends over at Tamara Tattles, though, because we have some more Erika Girardi news that I wanted to get into. I didn't realize this other story was going to break. Now, the New York Times reported that Erika Girardi made $600,000 for season 11 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, according to Tamara Tattles in her exclusive report, no, that's a smidgen of what Erika Jayne made for season 11. And now I'm starting to think that the New York Times article may have been a plant. Where did they get that $600,000 number from? And you remember during the reunion, Andy said, "I know what you make." And we all were like, $600,000 is not a life for her. It's not a lot for her lifestyle. Well, you'd be surprised at what Tamara Tattles is reporting. As always, we have cited our sources in the description of the video. If you report on the story, please do the same. It's just out of respect for Tamara Tattles. Shout out to her. Okay. Let me get into this, guys. I appreciate you all being in the chat. Shout out to our Royal Court Team Kempire members. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, be sure to head on over to teamkempire.com. We've gotten so many really new members. I appreciate the growing community that we're building here on the Kempire Daily YouTube channel. As you can hear in my voice, I've been dealing with some vocal issues because I've been talking way too much. Let's get into what they're saying here before we get into this other legal mumbo jumbo that I'm going to try and break down. Okay, I'm going to try to break down for all of us. But based on what we're hearing, Ronald Richards is no longer on the case. He's confirmed that on his Twitter. We will go to his Twitter to try and decipher his tweets as well. Okay, but before we get into that, how much did Erika Girardi make? How much did she make for season 11? So this is what Tamara Tattles is saying, okay? Or Tamara Tattles. Girl, you know, I appreciate you. I can never remember. I have so much things going on in my head. All right. So this is what she's reporting. She says, first of all, I asked her exclusive source, about Erika Girardi's salary back in mid-October. Okay. I'd been seeing all sorts of people guessing how much she was making. According to my exclusive source who actually knows, Erika Girardi made $68,000 per episode this season for a total with the 4 union episodes. This is the total that she made, allegedly. $1,632,000 for the season. That's far from the $600,000 that was reported in the New York Times. Again, I remind you, during the reunion, Andy Cohen said to her, "I know what you make." And the way he said it, it made you think you make good money on this show. And I thought $600,000 for the Beverly Hills lady. We hear people like Nene making $2 million in Atlanta, and rightfully so. They had the ratings, but Beverly Hills has had some really good ratings. And if she is the centerpiece for this season, why would she make less? Let me continue. So, according to Marital, she says this is just so. She's jokingly saying, "Oh, she's just so broke." The episode rate seemed a bit high for her, so I asked if she negotiated a higher salary for this season, because she should have. But the source says no, that was her standard contractual increase. Okay? Dorit's a part of this story too, y'all. We got some more Dorit stuff to talk about. Okay. Another reason for the delayed Erika Girardi tea, because Tamara has been sitting on this story, was about the time rumors were swirling about Dorit Kemsley and her precarious position on the show. You know, we reported that there was a report that Dorit was being considered not to return. Okay. According to Tamara Tattle, she says, "I'm not one to jump on the bandwagon of rumor mills for things I have a source that can confirm or deny. On October 28th, I was told pickup letters went out. She did not get one." Dorit, we're speaking of right now. Okay. "There is a rush to follow Erika Girardi picking up the pieces of her life. They want a play-by-play timeline of what she does next. Same cast minus Dorit. So that was solved. But as I frequently overshare, I'm dealing with a lot over her and a lot over here, and have for some reason been avoiding catching you guys up on the tea." Okay, Tamara, come on. And just do the recap. She just does a recap. So she says, later on October 28th, the news came out Dorit had been robbed at gunpoint. Remember? Literally this week, we saw the video footage. Everyone has been speculating and breaking down the video footage. Some people do not believe that this is an actual robbery. They seemed a little too casual in the video. This is what people are saying. Okay. So according to Tamara Tattle, she says, "I linked to my source for a change. We discussed the timing of the robbery. Filming was to begin the next week. We were both skeptical. I was waiting to see if there was any skepticism from my source about the break-in because she started filming right when that happened. Later, Andy Cohen would say that he is shocked by how well she's doing after such a frightening endeavor. Make of that what you will. Cameras have started rolling. They essentially pick up from where the reunion left off. Erika's life is in shambles. All of the ladies will return with Dorit and Sutton's roles unconfirmed at this time, but expect both to be featured." Okay. Dorit filmed this week. They got pickups of her home invasion aftermath. The ladies traveled to Palm Springs for an all-cast trip. Bravo is milking the topical stories. So the question here that's highlighted from Tamara Tattle, so you guys just joining us, we have a couple of stories that we're going to get into. So they're saying this: Did Dorit get her contract back after the robbery? I didn't get a response to my question about the robbery giving a contract back until November 7th. Okay. The response was basically they were asking her to be a friend at most at first, but they want to tie the headline into the show because ratings soar with storylines ripped straight from the headlines. Jen Shaw, Portia Williams, Erika Girardi. So we shall see if she can keep enough going to hold her diamond or just appear in a limited number of episodes. This is so... I was really trying to believe that this was real. I really was. So according to Tamara Tattle, she says, also cameras have started rolling. They essentially pick up from where... I already read all that. Okay. So all of the ladies will return with Dorit and Sutton's role unconfirmed, as I said. Okay. Dorit filmed this week. The ladies traveled to Palm Springs for the all casting, blah, blah, blah. So for me, Dorit's burglars look awfully calm and in no real hurry to either break in or get away. There was a there was also apparently no mention of a gun in the police report. Lots of interesting things to that situation for me. For example, surveillance cameras were on, but not the alarm. Feel free to draw your own conclusions. So, if you're just joining us, we just got some information from Tamara Tattles in regards to Erika's salary. It's not allegedly the $600,000 that was reported in the New York Times. It's around over $1.6 million. Again, I remind you what Andy Cohen said during the reunion. I know what you make. I don't think he would say that for $600,000. Thank you so much for the super chat. Sutton unconfirmed, but she was the MVP of the season. However, at every top of the season, they asked the ladies, what's your story this season? What's going on in your life? If Sutton doesn't have anything, I don't know. But her big thing could be her beef with Erika. I'm sure that's still unresolved. Remember, Sutton almost didn't get her diamond this past season. So I'm not surprised by that news. All right, guys. Again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about some Real Housewives of Beverly Hills news. There was some breaking news in regards to the Jay Edelson situation. There's a whole report on Reuters. As always, I've cited my sources in the description of this video. I want to get into that. All right. Let me get into some of this other stuff. Let me minimize. I have way too many screens open. Let me pull this out. There we go. I took highlights, y'all. I took all kinds of highlights. And I actually printed something out. All right. If you're just joining us, guys, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share this on your social media so no one misses out on this information. Let me get into this. This is from Reuters. The title of this article is Edelson says Real Housewife Erika Girardi got money from Lion Air victims. All right. So they're saying in this report, law firm Edelson says financial records from the bankruptcy of famed plaintiff's lawyer, Tom Girardi, show that Girardi's estranged wife, reality TV star, Erika Girardi, received money misappropriated from victims of the Lion Air crash who were represented by her husband. All right. In the Edelson, which acted as a local counsel to Girardi in the Lion Air victims litigation against Boeing, leveled the new accusation against Erika Girardi in a brief filed on Tuesday in Tom Girardi's Chapter 7 proceedings in federal bankruptcy court in Los Angeles. I have also linked the brief in this video. Okay. In the filing, the law firm said that it had reviewed financial records provided by the Girardi bankruptcy trustee. Okay. Those records, it stated, belied private assertions by the trustee's special litigation counsel that Erika Girardi, a singer and the star of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, had not received money that was owed to Lion Air victims. So according to this brief, this is what it says. Far from foreclosing the possibility that Erika received settlement money from the Lion Air cases, the record showed the opposite. Money that belonged to the surviving widows and orphans of the victims of the plane crash had, in fact, been used to make payments for Erika or her companies, according to this brief. Okay, guys, bear with me. I just want to get this, out before we get into it. Erika Girardi's counsel, Evan Burgess of Greenberg Gross, refuted the new Edelson statement. Okay. Refuted the new Edelson accusation in an email statement. This is what Erika Girardi's attorney is saying. I know I got the picture up for you. I just wanted to read this. Guys, if you just joined us, we're talking about a new breaking story. There are new accusations against Erika Girardi. They're saying, according to Jay Edelson, the lawyer involved in the Lion Air case, they're accusing Erika Girardi that she got money from the Lion Air victims, okay, according to their evidence, okay? So this was the email statement from Evan Borges. He says, I've never seen any evidence to support the allegation that Lion Air settlement money received by Girardi Keese was sent by Girardi Keese to my client. The trustee in Girardi's Chapter 7 bankruptcy never has alleged that Erika received Lion Air settlement money. I don't know what Edelson is referring to, and he has conveniently redacted or blacked out his alleged references in his brief to supposed evidence. So, according to this article, the trustee's special litigation counsel, Ronald Richards. Hey, Ronald, I know you're watching. So, the trustee's special litigation counsel, Ronald Richards of Ronald Richards and Associates, said Edelson's new assertion is unfounded. Okay. They produced no evidence that showed any direct payments to Erika or her companies, he said. It's all a big conjecture piled on maybes. Okay. Edelson first blew the whistle on Girardi's alleged embezzlement of millions of dollars from the families of victims of the Lion Air crash in December. Okay. The firm filed a suit in federal court in Chicago claiming that instead of paying out settlement money to victims and co-counsel fees to Edelson, Girardi and his wife were using victims' money to prop up a glitzy facade. Okay, this is the same law firm that also subpoenaed Bravo for on-air footage. Okay, don't forget that element. All right. I'm going through all the details so we can discuss it. I will drop the call-in link because I want to hear what you guys have to say. You guys have linked me to a lot of different stories and new information that has come out. Shout out to our boy Up and Adam. He is named in the brief. Adam is named in the brief again. Adam, I'm sorry. And I had to text him. I said, Adam, did you see this? I mean, it happened. Look, it happens. All right. Adam's name is in the brief. So, Adam, we have to talk about you too. But look, he understands. I've linked the brief in the description of this video as well. Let's see. Back to where I was. So Edelson also alerted the judge overseeing the Lion Air litigation against Boeing. That judge quickly found Tom Girardi and his firm to be in contempt and ordered them to fork over $2 million allegedly diverted from the firm's clients. So that was the other. You remember when everyone was talking about why is she referring to them as alleged victims when there were judgments with Joey Ruigomez and the Lion Air cases, the Lion Air case. Those aren't alleged. They won in court. Okay. So litigation against Tom Girardi and Girardi Keese was stayed when they were forced into Chapter 7 proceedings in federal bankruptcy court in Los Angeles. Edelson named partner Jay Edelson and his colleagues nevertheless sought to continue their investigation of Erika Girardi in their suit against her in Chicago. In October, just last month, Edelson filed a motion in Tom Girardi's bankruptcy seeking a ruling that the bankruptcy stay did not preclude the firm from pursuing Erika Girardi on behalf of the Lion Air victims. Okay? The firm reiterated that any recovery would go to the victims, not Edelson. This is just so messy. This is really messy. How did we go from Ronald Richards being this really great guy trying to get all the money for the victims to Ronald Richards working with Erika Girardi allegedly? Ronald, do not email me. Do not email me. We will tell your side based off of your Twitter. Okay. So Erika Girardi's lawyer countered that Edelson had no basis to pursue any claims in the Lion Air case. In a November 2nd brief in the Tom Girardi bankruptcy, Erika Girardi's counsel Borges told U.S. bankruptcy judge Barry Russell of Los Angeles that the newly discovered evidence had revealed that the Illinois action is premised on illegal, unethical, and unenforceable fee-sharing agreements between Edelson and Girardi Keese. Okay, so if you've been following this story, you kind of already know these details. Right now, they're a little bit unimportant. Okay. The brief alleged that the Girardi's Lion Air clients did not sign off on Edelson's referral deal, invalidating the fee-sharing agreement at the heart of Edelson's Illinois case against Tom and Erika Girardi. The bankruptcy trustees litigation counsel Richards tweeted that the November 2nd Erika Girardi filing was a, quote, bombshell. You remember. I know you all remember that tweet, okay, and several other tweets. This is an important part. Edelson's brief on Tuesday argued that Ronald Richards had teamed up with Erika Girardi's lawyer in an attempt to shut down Edelson's investigation to the detriment of the Lion Air victims. I'm going to read that again. Everything that I'm saying is alleged, but these are the accusations that Edelson is alleging in this new brief. Okay, I have linked the brief so that it's long. It's 58 pages. Our boy Up and Adam is noted in there. It's going to be okay, Adam. They're not alleging you did anything. Edelson's brief this past Tuesday argued that Richards had teamed up with Erika Girardi's lawyer in an attempt to shut down Edelson's investigation to the detriment of the Lion Air victims. That outcome, the brief said, was bad for everyone, the Lion Air clients and all of the other creditors that Tom Girardi and Girardi Keese. Of the creditors of Tom Girardi and Girardi Keese, if it is only Edelson that will conduct a legitimate, non-conflicted investigation of what money Erika took, a fact that increasingly seems to be the case, that is all the more reason for the court to grant the motion to allow Edelson to push on despite the bankruptcy stay. Richards said in an interview, Ronald Richards, not Kyle Richards, just want to be clear, Ronald Richards said in an interview that he has no backdoor deal with Erika Girardi, okay, with whom he hopes to reach a voluntary settlement. He said he wants the investigation of Erika Girardi to be conducted in the bankruptcies rather than in Chicago litigation. Because he has procedural concerns about Edelson's right to sue based on the allegedly deficient client agreements. I'm almost done, y'all. I'm almost done. I'm on the last page. Calm down. Richards continued by saying this: the guy who wears the white hat should have all of his ducks in a row before he goes around accusing other people. Okay. Erika Girardi's counsel, Evan Borges, also denied collusion with Ronald Richards. Ain't this is reading like a damn Lifetime movie. How in the hell did we end up like this? Oh, everyone out for themselves but the victims? Surprising. Erika Girardi's counsel Borges also denied collusion with Richards. Edelson is seeing monsters in the closet, he said. Edelson's reply brief boils down to a distraction tactic to avoid having to answer for a blatantly unethical, illegal, and unenforceable fee-sharing agreement between his firm and Girardi Keese. Jay Edelson acknowledged on Twitter, because I like to give you the full story. Jay Edelson acknowledged on Twitter that Erika Girardi and her counsel have not seen the records backing his firm's assertions in Tuesday's brief that Lion Air client money flowed to her. Okay. Specific details are redacted in the public version of the filing. Why can't I say his name now? I've been saying it this entire time. Jay Edelson, there we go. Called on the bankruptcy trustee to release the financial records publicly for the benefit of Erika Girardi and the vast public that's eager for details in this case. This has spilled on to Twitter because why not? Okay, why not? Guys, if you don't follow Emily D. Baker on YouTube, you should, because I know she's going to address this. Shout out to Emily. I just like to play a lawyer here on YouTube. I'm not one, just to be clear. I'm just reiterating all of this information. Exactly. Exactly. I can't wait for Emily D. Baker to cover this as well. She'll break it down because she has years of experience. Look, as I said to you before, I'm not an attorney. I'm reiterating what has been reported in this story. So, of course, thank God I screenshotted this because they tried. Look, Ronald Richards deleted his original tweet. Ronald Richards deleted his original tweet. Okay, his original tweet. Ronald, you talk. Ronald, we just need the facts. Okay, we just need the facts. We don't need all of this flowery talk. Okay, we don't need the flowery talk. Let me move this over here because this is. So Jay Edelson posted this on his Twitter. Okay, you know what? Before I get to this one, let's go to Ronald Richards' Twitter because I'm fair. I'm fair. Yes, he deleted it. Hold on, y'all. New computer. I got to open some things and fix some things. Hold on. I want to share my screen. Okay. There we go. Allow. Oh, no. Later. I can't do it now. All right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Because I don't want to ruin what we're doing here. I'll just read you what is on his Twitter. Okay. Because either way, you can go to his Twitter. Guys, we have over 600 something people watching. Be sure to like this video if you haven't liked it already. And if you're watching the replay of this, I want to know your thoughts based on the information that we are receiving. Okay. Becca, I will show you exactly what he deleted in just a second. Okay. And for those that are just joining us, you can literally now in live rewind it back. So you can rewind it back to hear what we have been reporting on in this regard. Okay. So let's go to, I'm going to go to Ronald Richards' Twitter. Okay. So the recent tweet, let me refresh because Ronald likes to tweet. Okay. So his last tweet, which was about 57 minutes ago, he says, here's some additional insight, insight on pending claims. Taking the same side opposing a single motion does not mean we are supporting an adversary. An illegal fee agreement prohibits recovery by an attorney, even if they say they are working for free or donating their fees. Okay. He reposted what he posted before that Jay Edelson retweeted and basically revealed that Ronald Richards is no longer on this bankruptcy case. So Ronald, maybe I can, you know what? I can do this. Let me just do this, y'all. I'm going to share this with you. So I will pull it over so I can share with you what Ronald said. Okay. So Ronald shared this on his Twitter. Let me move it over so it's out of my face. There we go. As everyone knows, we do the deep dives in an effective but fair manner. We are not going to overstate the evidence because it's convenient. The $25 million we sued for related to expenses paid for EJ Global and Erika. There is no evidence we saw that Erika or EJ Global received a penny of anyone else's attorney's fees directly. There is just an open book account on a defunct law firm. We cannot support an attorney or anyone else trying to get fees based upon an illegal fee agreement. All of the money spent on Erika has already been documented. There is no further benefit other than media attention and pretending you are a pro bono law firm that we can see in dragging Erika back to Chicago on a non-monetary accounting claim, while your other claim against her is already stayed and that we are already suing her for in Los Angeles. Okay. Okay. So you got that part. So let me show you the original tweet. So Jay Edelson retweeted this. Okay. This is a now deleted tweet from Ronald Richards below, but he says this in translation of Ronald's tweet. He says, translation, Ronald Richards. I love how they all tag each other. I love it though, because to me, that's like, we love to talk behind people's backs here, even though we know we're not. But they tag each other. Like I always tell you guys, don't tag any of these people that we're talking about. Don't do it. I've gotten in trouble before for that. Remember the Tamar incident? If you missed it, you missed it. Anyways. Translation: Ronald Richards was fired earlier today, as suggested by the trustee who conceded that we found the goods on Erika Jayne and who indicated they will be withdrawing their position. Back to the sidelines, Ron. Let the real lawyers do their job. Lawyers can be shady, y'all. If you didn't know, lawyers can be shady. We need a lawyer reality TV show. Well, we already have one. Here we are. Ronald Richards is a star right now. Let me go back to their Twitters because they're responding. You know, and what's really good to do is not just to read what the person says, read the comments. Read the comments, because a lot of people are in the comment section saying all the necessary things. Okay. So one person replies to Ronald Richards' tweet that I just read to you before. Says the fee agreement has no relevance to Edelson's request to lift the stay and permit him to pursue collection on a judgment against Erika because he's pro bono, zero fees. You, Jay Edelson, want to recover stolen money for Lion Air victims. Justice is the goal. Why oppose him? Stop. This was in response to Ronald Richards' tweet. And all of you were tagging me. Kempire, did you hear Ronald Richards was fired? Yes, I did. Here we are. Here we are. If you want to read more up on what Ronald Richards has to say about the things that have transpired in the last 12 hours, head on over to his Twitter. I'm going to look forward to, and I will be cozying up, and you will see me in the live chat when Emily breaks down what this means and what the future means in regards to this. She's probably the only one that makes sense to me, honestly. And yes, she will be coming here at some point very soon. We're working on it. Busy. We're all busy. Hold on. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. The fee agreement literally is a deflection. Trust me, there are news stories coming out about the Travis Scott situation like every hour. Stay tuned. I will have more updates tomorrow. Rena says, so RR gets no payment if he's fired. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure he will respond to that, though. Hey, Ron, I know you're watching. I'll be honest with you guys. And look, we've been covering this story for months now. We've called out Ronald for some of his social media behavior. But at the same time, we were like, you know what? We're getting the information so that we have a better idea of what's really happening in this whole mess that is Tom Girardi Keys, Erika Jayne Girardi. And still, it makes no sense. And still, it makes no sense. You guys are hilarious in the chat. I can't. Galaxy says RR will get his salary at the firm plus billable hours. They're colluding with RR. Well, that's what they are alleging. That's what they're alleging, and that's part of the reason why RR is not a part of it. According to RR's Twitter, though, he's saying that he's doing this because he has a bigger mission in regards to bigger players. And you know, he said that in recent interviews that now he's focused beyond just Erika and that there are other people involved. But we've said that multiple times. We've said that multiple times about this whole situation. Yes, Erika Girardi plays a part here. Do we know for a fact that Erika Girardi was a big player in this? Not necessarily. But there were other partners. There were other, people involved. Politicians, California bar. And when I say involved, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They're supposed to be the checks and balances. And they weren't. There were creditors that still gave this Tom Girardi millions of dollars, even though he owed millions of dollars. If we owe anything, we can't even get a loan. And Marziah, that's the big issue. I know Emily has talked about this before. No one's going to sue the California bar because would you want to sue the people that license you? Which is unfortunate. So there really is no checks and balances for what they did or didn't do. Okay. All right. I'm going to drop the call link. We're going to take a couple callers because my throat is done for the night. All right. Let me just drop this here. And we'll take a couple of callers and then we'll call it a night because I got to rest. I got lots. I can't anymore. Thank you, Diana. Shout out to my mods. Shout out to my mods. If you guys are just joining us, we are talking about this news story that came out that's alleging Edelson, the law firm that's representing the Lion Air victims, is alleging that Erika Girardi got money from the Lion Air victims. That's their new allegation. Deb says, so Edelson says Ron was fired. Does that mean it's true? Not necessarily, but I think Ronald would have denied it because he has been active on Twitter since that, and he has tagged him. So if it wasn't true, I'm sure that he would have denied it. He has not. And as I said to you before, in his tweets, he's saying there are bigger things for him to handle in regards to this. He will still be commenting on this case, of course, but I think he also understands, even though he's commenting on the case, because he's not involved, people won't necessarily listen. Just saying. Okay. Oh, 1 second, y'all. Let me just change this to that. All right. We're going to take a couple of callers, guys. 1 second. Let me just make sure all of this is here. Norma says Ronald loves attention. And you know what I think it is? And in all fairness, I think people sometimes start out with good intentions and then they get a lot of attention and it goes to their heads. I kind of think that happened. Exactly. The last we heard, though, they were still active, Deb. Deb says maybe he withdrew because she won't settle. The last we heard, they were in settlement agreements still. So that's not what Ronald is saying on his social media. So it'll be interesting because you know he's going to respond. Okay. All right. Kat, I'm going to bring you up for a quick comment. What's going on, Kat? You cracking up?
Hi, honey. How are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm okay, but if I say I'm so over this, that would be an understatement. The truth of the matter is that there should be other people liable for this whole scandal. Yeah. Such a big law firm like Keefe. Yeah. There's no way in the world no one knew. Yeah. I think that everybody had their share of dipping their hand in the pot. And they got away with it for so long that they figured it would never hit the fan. And when they did, they knew, that Erika's husband, Girardi, would be the one they would look at, right? Because he's like head boss, head honcho. Yeah. And then going after her was just so much easier because she is legally his wife. Mm-hmm. She is in the limelight. She's on Housewives. Like, it just made sense to just kind of push everything on them. Yeah. But people forget that this is bigger than that. These victims were already victims, and now they've been victimized again. Yeah. By people who stole from them, who they should have trusted. But we call this America. You got to be kidding me. And
it's fun. It's funny because, and when I say it's funny, this is not the first story of an attorney stealing from their clients.
It's not. So you would think that because it has happened so many times and it has been all over the media, right? This is not something that's been shoved under the rug. It was all over media. Different law firms and different lawyers of such calibers doing this to people. Normal people like me and you. Yeah. You would think that the Bar Association would take a closer look and say, okay, well, what steps can we take? What measures can we take to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Yeah. And they don't. They really don't.
It makes me wonder how they profited.
Yeah. Absolutely. But it's just it's out of control. I think one of my biggest things that I was angry about with Erika wasn't because in the beginning, I can honestly say I didn't think she knew. And the reason why I didn't think she knew was She's just his wife.
Yeah.
What powerful couple you know of an older man with a younger woman? They don't take care of their wives. They always do.
Yeah.
And the wives become the elites of the elites because of who they're married to. And so this has been going on for ages. We know how Hollywood works and Beverly Hills and blah, blah, blah. And the frou-frous of the frou-frous, let's be real. But my thing was she lacked empathy. Yeah. Once you found out, because you eventually did find out, whether it was through the lawyers knocking on your door, the feds knocking on your door, the whispers at the galas, you found out at a point in time, you found out, Erika.
Even at the reunion.
Why you didn't come up and show any kind of empathy? Why you didn't wave the flag and say, wait a minute, my husband did what? How can I get on board and help these people? Yeah. They're victims. And if my husband, who I'm legally married to, did this, I want to know and I want to help. She didn't do that. She came off victimized. It was all about her. She's threatening Sutton. Poor Sutton don't look like she could bust a grape at a fruit fight. Like, you coming for Sutton? You know you couldn't do that to Garcelle. Let's just be real. But you aimed at this woman who wouldn't bust a grape at a fruit fight. And the waterworks, the whole thing is like, it became the Erika Girardi show. It was all about her and clearing her name. And then when you get questioned about your anger and why do you look like you don't care, you even become more hostile. Listen, Erika, I don't know how you sleep at night, sweetie, but we go on what we see. We haven't seen any empathy from you.
None.
So I don't care what she sat on that couch and said to Andy Cohen with her little ugly pink dress. She looked horrible, by the way. I don't know why she wore that. That was like a no-no. She looked like she was going to prom, honestly. She did better. Because we know she got money. That's another lie.
That was the other thing. I don't know if you saw that at the top of this live. I was talking about, the New York Times reported that she made $600,000 for last season. According to this new exclusive, they're saying no, she made like over 1.6 million for last season.
I believe it. I believe it. We're talking about Erika Girardi. This is a woman who has always, regardless of those records that she made, that was another clown situation. But that's for another segment. But we're talking about a woman that is not afraid to flaunt her wealth.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. There's nowhere in the world she was just making $600,000.
Yeah.
She has been an asset to the show, whether we like it or not. She's bold. She speaks her mind. She doesn't care. She gets catty. She gets in your face. She was like a 50-year-old on stage trying to sing songs like she was in her 20s, half naked. She was doing it and she was getting money. She was getting her name out there. She was bringing Beverly Hills, Housewives of Beverly Hills, some oomph. And the truth is that show was it was teetering for a while. Yeah. Erika brought it back to life. She kind of did. I'm going to give her that. She's good for TV. It's scandalous. She's good for TV. So we all know when Andy said, well, I know how much you get paid. When he said the amount, I'm going to keep it real with you. I was like, I think he's missing a couple of zeros.
Well, he never said the amount. Because
I know we came from somewhere, the 600,000.
Yeah, it was the New York Times that reported 600,000.
Okay. But we knew that was, it don't add up. 1 and 1 got to equal 2.
Yeah.
Has to equal 2. So it's like, she got money. She lacked empathy. She's still acting like a victim. If she wants to turn this around, and let's say she really didn't know. Yeah. And when she found out, she just went about her business. It would be morally and ethically wrong, right?
Yeah.
But let's say that is the case. To me, it's about time to show up and show out for the victims, not for you.
Yeah.
Because for me, Erika can recover. As scandalous as she is, who the hell ain't going to want to put her on TV now? Who ain't going to want to write a book now? Give her a publishing deal. She's a hot commodity because of how scandalous it is. The truth is, we like scandal. We like juicy headlines. We like it. We feed off of it.
Unfortunately,
it's entertainment, right? But the victims,
exactly.
no.
That's the part. That's the part. There's so many victims that still do not have their money that they're owed.
That part. And this is people that already have been victimized. So for her to say, and crying and and he's not the same. I don't give a. I don't want to curse, but I don't give a f who Tom used to be and who he is now.
Yeah.
Somewhere in his mind, he was stealing. Whether it was before he became a whack job or before, he was stealing. And even though you're divorcing him, it happened while you were a married couple.
Yeah.
Show up for the victims.
Yeah.
Show up.
We shall see. Maybe redemption will be found in season 12. Not sure, but we shall see.
Or they get the new housewife to come for her, because I heard the new housewife is supposed to be really rich and fabulous. And I am waiting to see who this is.
Okay, Kat, I appreciate you calling in.
Always, honey, and I'm a big fan. Mwah. I love your work. Keep doing you, my love.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. All right, we're gonna take these last couple of callers, guys, just because the throat. Gotta rest up the throat. Oh, wait, I missed a couple of super chats. Let me just get to a couple of these super chats. Hold on, y'all. Thank you so much, Mama Allie, for the super chat. Do I get to say I told you so yet? Does Sutton? Oh gosh. Thank you so much for the super chat. Erika is boring. That's why the reunion was like getting a root canal. It was Sutton and Garcelle who made the story interesting. And I've said that too before. This season wouldn't have been interesting if we relied on Erika to tell the story. Yes, it was Erika's story, but if Garcelle and Sutton weren't asking the questions, those other ladies would have let it ride through and would have been like, oh, I guess nothing's happening. I guess we should also thank Ronald Richards too for being messy on Twitter. Okay. Thank you so much for the super chat. Norma, thank you so much for the super chat. Norma says it cost Erika nothing to say. I am sick over what happened to the victims, even if she didn't mean it. Instead, she makes it all about herself, even in the reunion. All right. Procrastinating, I'm going to bring you up. What's going on?
Hello, can you hear me? Is there a delay?
No, can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's surprising. So I've been watching your channel for a minute, but I'm in third year in law school. I really shouldn't be watching your channel, but I
love it though. We got a lawyer brain.
Nah, I'm not licensed. I'm studying for the bar. Hopefully I'll pass.
But you have a lawyer brain. No, you need to
okay.
You have a lawyer brain.
All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is plaintiffs' lawyers, which is what Tom Girardi and oh my God, I forgot his Ronald Richards are. So why are they so sketchy and why do they always seem to be the ones to get in trouble? It's because they always are working on a contingency fee. And so a lot of people will see these 40 to 45% a contingency fee from the settlement and be like they're stealing from the clients. Well, not really. They're also taking on a huge risk. Because if they don't win any money, they basically have done months of work for $0. And this is also why when Tom Girardi was basically stealing from creditors, it's really, really bad for the legal industry because it's increasing the risk that people have when they loan out money to these law firms in order to take up these plaintiffs who don't have money to pay lawyers up front. But there's not all lawyers are like them. But because of the way that they get paid, they tend to be susceptible to a lot of sketchy arrangements. Another thing, just because as somebody who's going to be a lawyer, I'm pissed off about the California bar is considering increasing the annual license because they're thinking about randomly auditing the accounts that say Tom Girardi would have that he would funnel into his personal account that should have gone to the client. But it's really annoying because it has nothing to do with random audits. If the Bar Association just did what they said they were going to do, which is analyze the complaints, so many complaints came in for Tom Girardi, all they had to do was actually look into it, and it would have been so easy just to, put that on their website, on the bar, sanction him, but they didn't. So it's annoying that every other lawyer has to suffer because Tom Girardi got away with something, and also there were sketchy people within the law firm. So now I'm going to my last thing, I know that we're trying to go quick. I'm going to talk about the emails between okay. I'm going to talk about the emails between Ronald Richard and Edelson. So that was in the exhibit of the brief. And it's just really interesting I don't want to get too much into it. So essentially, in the first email exchange that Ronald sends to Edelson on October 7th, Thursday, he first is trying to schedule a call. And then in the middle of this, he says something that really has nothing to do with him. He says, "We can also see if we can come to an agreement on the relief. The trustee may have to oppose the motion." This is the motion to lift the bankruptcy stay, which would mean that all the creditors would be able to go after Erika, Tom, what have you. Give me one moment. For some reason, it just left mine.
We appreciate you going through this.
Yeah, I just find this really fascinating because I didn't realize how sketchy Ronald was. And as a law student, this is just screaming weird.
Can you just reiterate what you just said for those that didn't hear you in the back?
I didn't realize how sketchy Ronald was. I knew he was messy. And also, when you look at these email exchanges, one really interesting thing that just really indicates a lot about the professionalism of a lawyer. Ronald Richard has a bunch of typos, but Edelson doesn't. So the Edelson lawyers are very clean, nice. And then Ronald Richard looks like he's, you know, some messy guy. So it's a really interesting dynamic that I've never seen. So the estate owes all the fraudulent conveyance claims against Erika, basically telling Edelson lay off that claim of to lift the stay. And there's no funds from the Boeing money to her we are aware of. Key point, because at this point, Edelson is like, we got the evidence. Within that brief, they show exactly how the money was transferred from the Boeing settlement into Erika's business accounts. It is ridiculous. And also Erika's lawyer that they don't, there's no evidence of it, but even though the names are redacted, at least from I'm a law student, I don't know shit. Sorry, I shouldn't curse. I don't know it, but
a lot because you're explaining a lot right now, Miss.
Evidence. Okay. They are a lot of damning evidence against the fact that Erika was actually the primary beneficiary of the embezzlement of client money. So Edelson is onto something, and for some reason, Ronald Richard wanted to stop further investigation into that, and that makes sense because if the stay is lifted, they don't really need him as the trustee, and so he doesn't get paid for what he has, but that also means that he's not actually doing what he said he was doing during all this public spiel, which is to fight for the victims. And so I'll show the points in the email exchange that hint that Ronald Richard is colluding with Erika. And so he asked for a call to talk about this stay, the bankruptcy stay. The bankruptcy stay has nothing to do with Ronald Richard. That is not his assignment. His assignment is to look into Erika's accounts. And in fact, arguably, he would want the stay to be lifted so that he could see more. But there's clearly something sketchy happening in the background. The Edelson lawyers then just like, what are you talking about? Because it is, what are you talking about? If you don't want to hear it, you don't need a call. However, you would be, okay, so excuse me, I'm skipping around. But this is, so Edelson lawyers basically told Ronald Richard, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we already have scheduled, we have a 7th Circuit argument, which is a big deal. I didn't know Edelson was like that big of a law firm. Yeah, huge deal that they're in a federal appellate court. So really, I mean, it just shows the prestige of Edelson's law firm. But anyway, they go back and forth and they're just trying to schedule something, but Ronald Richard is pushing for them to basically meet within a day or two. And they're like, this isn't an emergency. This has nothing to do with you. Why are you so stressed about the lifting of a stay that has nothing to do with your assignment on this case? And so what Ronald Richard says is, you would be doing your client a big disservice. He's telling Edelson that for some reason, what they're doing is a disservice to their client. Why does this matter to Ronald Richards? We don't know. We are both very busy as well, but it is important for both of us to make the time to try and resolve without any damage. So again, you know, when you're in industry, you know when someone's like threatening you, there is it's sketch here because he's banned if you continue to fight for the stay. So now we get to the real sketchy part that involves
the real sketchy part.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, oh my gosh, I mean, that's sketchy, but Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find
No,
this
take your
email.
time. First of all, I appreciate you procrastinating law student for calling in, because I know you don't give yourself enough credit, but you know what you're doing and what you're talking about here. Guys, I've also linked the brief in the description of this video, so you can also look along if you're watching the replay of this later on this evening. So I do appreciate you breaking this down for us, because as I said to you before, I'm not a lawyer. I just like to play one here on YouTube. Not a very good one, huh?
Right. And just so
let me just say thank you to just for the super chat. She says, I'm an attorney. State bars are self-policing. Long story short, the same people reviewing complaints against Tom are his longtime colleagues. And we've heard that before. Thank you so much for the super chat. Go ahead.
Okay, so here I found it. So on October 22nd, so they keep on going back and forth. Remember, the first email exchange was October 7th. So now we're on October 22nd, and the Edelson law firm is like, yo, Ronald is moving sketch. We don't know what he's doing. And they push him to basically tell them why he is so invested in making sure that the stay is not lifted, that Erika doesn't get probed further, that there's no longer any investigation. And this is what he says. That, and I think even the average layperson will realize that this makes no sense. I just wanted you to know that it was something that I want to address for her being Erika. So strange. She's not Erika's lawyer, because she asked me about it. So I thought you would say, okay, we'll have them for you by X, or that there's no other documents other than that's what's in the claim, is what I wanted to clarify for her. Why does Ronald Richard need to clarify anything for Erika? Erika has very expensive Yale-educated lawyers. There is no reason why Ronald Richard needs to come in.
Can you just highlight what page that's on, just in case for those that are watching the replay, they want to go, if they're looking at the brief at the same time?
Yes, it's the brief filed on 11/09/21. It's page 42 of 58. So that is where, or it's 41 into 42. The paging is a little strange.
Yeah.
Yes. And then because Ronald Richard came off as rude, he basically excuses all of his weird tonation with email is not always the best communicator. And just before I'm almost done. There's just one more email that was the threatening email, essentially.
Wow.
So the big disservice.
I literally got this information. I just want to let people know. I literally got this information like an hour before I decided to go live for my previous live, but it's such important information because we've been following the story for so long. We know Beverly Hills is not in season right now. They're recording their new season, but of course these series of litigation is going on. So I appreciate you procrastinating, law student. You're still practicing law right now with us, and I look forward to you becoming a lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be plaintiff's lawyer because I don't want to deal with these people, just to be very claro. I'm not. I'm watching this whole thing go down. I'm like, these people are not, they are making deals with the devil. So essentially here is where we get on page 4458 of the main document. And this is in the exhibition. So remember, you're going to have to go all the way down. So basically, I'm going to read this verbatim what Ronald Richard said, but I'm also going to sort of summarize what Ronald Richard is basically saying. For some reason, Ronald Richard believes that it is his duty to confirm the fee agreement between Girardi, Keys, and Edelson. This has already been, I wouldn't say litigated, but this has already been brought up. This is one of the first things that Erika's lawyers brought up. But essentially what Ronald Richard is doing in this email is he's basically suggesting that imagine if it gets out that you don't have this fee agreement. And so this is where I'm also sketched out by the Daily Mail's coverage of the fee agreement, that there's so many outlets that talk about the fee agreement. I would argue that that is something that a PR, somebody from behind the scenes, is pushing to discredit Edelson. And I feel bad because Edelson doesn't have the same platform as Ronald Richard or Erika, but it is clear that this dead end argument about the fee agreement has nothing to do with what Edelson is actually discovering. And to remember, go back. What has Edelson discovered? Edelson has discovered a direct link between the embezzlement of the Lion Air settlement to Jayne's company. So let me go ahead and read this email. So this is after a lot of back and forth, and Ronald Richard says, "Hi, Alex. Since you have put your right to fees front and center, which they have not, they are doing this pro bono. I had your claim pulled as part of our diligence in this matter." Okay, he doesn't need to do diligence on like that. He's not a part of the Lion Air thing. Are the two agreements attached to your claim the ones you are relying on for your assertion that you have the right to a portion of the Boeing settlements that went to the JK Trust account? Please confirm there are no other written agreements. So he's basically trying to force them to say that they have this limited fee agreement. Again, this really has nothing to do with what is at hand, which is lifting the stay on the bankruptcy. He's moving sketch. And he's basically threatening them. And they have done a pretty good job, PR-wise, making Edelson at least look sketchy, like they had some sketchy fee agreement. Look, every lawyer is going to look at this differently. I personally think that that's really besides the point. It's very clear that Edelson did the work and they deserve compensation. And maybe they didn't, do it in writing or what have you. I just took the MPRE, which is the ethics test for lawyers. Maybe he didn't do it step by step, but he deserved. Edelson, the law firm, deserved. And again, they're arguing on the Seventh Circuit. They're a very prestigious law firm. If there are other agreements, please send them over immediately. Ronald Richard has no right to receive agreements between Girardi, Keese, and Edelson. And so, I'm sorry, I've been talking for a while, and I know you like us to go quickly, but
no, because you were bringing very pertinent information that I couldn't bring to our listeners, so that's why I'm letting you speak as freely as possible.
And then this is just layman, and thank you so much. This is just layman shady stuff. Thank you in advance for your prompt response to this request. Who is Ronald Richard to be like, suggesting that somebody gotta respond quickly to this request that has nothing to do with him? It's like he basically, this whole entire email, which is on page 44 of 58, is sketch. On a lawyer's perspective, why is Ronald Richard so invested in getting Edelson to drop their motion to lift the stay on the bankruptcy? I believe, okay, this is me just speculating, that basically Erika and Ronald Richard reached some agreement. And quite frankly, let me be honest, Erika's lawyer. Again, this is all speculation, allegation, this is not true. But they reached some agreement, and a settlement is supposed to make the job easier. So I think the way that Ronald was able to get Erika to the table is say, hey, you can pay $5 million instead of whatever else people are going to have you pay, and then you have no more claims against you, and you get to go on your day. And I also stop bothering you. I kind of make you look like you're in the good light, and you don't have any more liability. So I think that's what's happened. And because Ronald Richard only gets paid if the trustee gets paid, if the stay is lifted, all the work that he evaporates. And I don't think he wants that. I also think he wants access to Erika's contacts. It seems as though recently he's been collecting a lot of high profile influencer type clients. And I think that is because of what has been happening here. And so, yeah, I think
just sidebar, a lot of people were getting on him about the influencer, TikTok influencer on his Instagram. They posted a public service announcement and people were in the comments going crazy. I was like, what's going on?
No, it is sketchy. It's very, he's moving weird. He's moving weird. And I think he's relying on the fact that the average layperson doesn't realize how sketchy these are. And also that he was so hard against Erika initially. So who's going to guess that Ronald Richard might be working with Erika behind the scenes? No one is going to make that logical leap. And so I think Edelson doesn't have as much of a following. I also highly recommend everyone to follow Edelson now. Do not follow Ronald Richard anymore.
Look, we're going to do it while you're talking.
Yeah.
Follow,
hurt his ego a little bit, get those numbers down. Yeah.
I'm gonna post this in the chat so people can follow him too. Hold on. Let me post this in the chat so you guys can follow him. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I realized that was, I think Ronald Richard really, he could have won this, but people like you and I'm sure Emily are going to basically call him out, and it's going to be really, really important because I think he's been winning the public relations game. And unfortunately, Jay doesn't have that platform.
And is this part of the reason why Ronald really wanted to come on the platform?
Maybe. I think I think what I realized, because you kind of alluded to your conversations with him, it seems as though he wants to make himself the authority. And so what he did in the past couple of months is he made himself the legal authority for the Erika Girardi thing for these past couple of months. And that essentially allowed him to control the narrative. And so if that continued, if you hadn't opened up the Edelson thing, then he would have been the lawyer. Emily Baker would have been that elitist, naughty person who kept on coming at him for no reason, blah, blah, blah. And he had some points, but he's just moving sketchy. So I think Ronald Richards, also, by the way, Ronald Richards is another person who the Bar Association should sanction. Like, this is the perfect example. If I go on the Bar Association's website and I don't see a complaint against him, I don't see anything, then I'm going to be like, the Bar Association, you have learned nothing from the Girardi scandal. You are still allowing people who are blatantly breaking the rules, or at least like doing unethical stuff, to proceed. And also, to get fired as a trustee, as a lawyer trustee, that's a big deal. Like, it's a big deal. And I feel like he's, again, on his Twitter, he's trying to underrepresent the severity of the fact that he's been fired, and that this motion was just filed yesterday. So the judge read this yesterday and said, oh, no, 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 Ronald Richard cannot be on this case again. And that's really quick for a judge to move. So anyway, yeah, and I don't know too much. I think that Emily Baker, as a prosecutor, probably has more information and is probably better equipped. But yeah,
we love Emily, but you did a damn good job, Missy, and I look forward to you being an attorney.
All right. I mean, yeah, I won't be sketchy. I don't need money. Actually,
please don't. We have enough sketchy.
I won't be sketchy. I'm gonna leave you so that you guys can gossip about other things. But thank you so much, Kempire. Please elevate Edelson. Everyone unfollow Ronald Richard, because his ego needs to be hurt a little bit, at least, by this whole thing. I think he thinks that he could preserve his ego because he thinks that he's a lawyer and he's smarter than everyone else. Look, don't let him win in that way. So anyway, I'm gonna leave you to be. Thank you so much, Kempire. Sorry for wasting it. Or I won't say sorry. I've been told not to say sorry.
Yes, please do not say sorry, because like I said to you before, first of all, you added so much knowledge to this conversation. Look, I read the reports. I bring you guys the tea. I examine it. I allow people to call in and share their thoughts on the platform, but you really brought an educational standpoint to this. So we appreciate your analysis, and thank you so much for calling in. And please feel free to call in again.
Of course. Let me go read my taxation law book. Good night, everyone.
To work, girl. Oh, look, I'm sorry. I was like,
no, that was awesome information at procrastinating. Awesome. Freaking thank you, girl. And congrats and good luck. I hope we hear more from you.
How are you?
Doing well. Kempire, huge fan, by the way. Love you. Thank you for your channel. You've kept me up to date on a lot of stuff. And I know I was jumping in on the comments a lot below. I get why Erika is like the main face of all of this and why everybody's so angry. She's been in the limelight for a hot freaking minute now on all of this. But as much as I may be angry at her, I feel like there is a lot more anger to be spread around and a lot less that we're hearing about, especially when it comes to the bar being held accountable for allowing this to transpire as long as it has. They do need to be held accountable. Upping fees is not going to do jack other than create harder times on people who are trying to be good lawyers coming in. And the people who are not doing right, still being grandfathered into a system. It's not fixing the system.
Yeah,
I have issue with that. I also have issue with the fact that there's a lot of money that got placed very strategically, may I say, in higher up positions that should also be returned. And those people should be held accountable as well. If it were you or me, we would have been pulled in on this. So I don't see why anybody else should get carte blanche. So just throwing that out there.
Sure, no, you're right.
I feel like, yes, while she definitely was not showing any kind of empathy towards the victims, and that is also BS. there are definitely other people that need to be held accountable and brought into this thoroughly.
And according to Ronald Richards on his Twitter, in his Twitter rant a couple of hours ago, he was saying the reason why he's no longer on the case was because there are bigger players to go after. But after our procrastinating lawyer broke it down, I was like, really?
I think he had a little bit of deflation going on in that situation of his own handling of the situation. I kind of questioned why he was going on social media myself outright. I am not by any means, you guys, a lawyer or in training or any of that. The closest I ever came. No, the closest I ever came was military police. So that's the closest I ever came to law. But I definitely love watching Real Housewives, but this is the biggest mess I have seen on Bravo yet. And Jen Shaw had come kind of close, but this one's blowing it out of the water, I must admit. So it also kind of makes me question with reality TV where they're going to go next, because this is as far as shock value can go. If you're upping it any further from this, we're talking along some serious lines that I don't think we should go down. So we need to figure something else out for entertainment purposes because this is not going in a good direction.
Agreed. Phoenix Rising Scorpio. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. I just want to say thank you to everyone that sent in a super chat. I wasn't able to read everyone's super chat, but I appreciate you all supporting the channel. For those that are watching the replay of this, I wanted to hear your thoughts on all of the information. As I said to you before, I just gave you the information, but shout out to procrastinating lawyers, law student. I look forward to you being a lawyer. Don't discredit yourself. You were brilliant in that moment. And as you said, that is your opinion and your view of what you read in that brief. As always, we have cited our sources in the description of this video, and I'm going to link Jay Edelson's Twitter as well. I've pinned it in the live chat. Be sure to follow him. Drop those crowns and elephants in his comment section and let him know who sent you. Guys, shout out to my mods for being here for so long. I know we went live a couple of times today. I'm going to go rest my voice for the rest of the evening and probably tomorrow. I appreciate you all calling in. Shout out to everyone that called in. Shout out to everyone that was a part of the live chat. And shout out to everyone that will be a part of the comment section. As always, guys, I don't moderate adults, so behave yourselves in the comment section. Let's have an open conversation. And if you're an attorney, share your thoughts below as well. I look forward to reading what you guys have to say on this recent news. And Ronald Richards, we're watching. Don't email me, Ronald. Guys, thank you again for tuning in. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.